Hello everyone, and welcome to the 10-year anniversary special of Prof Publications. Yay!
Ooh, yeah.
I am joined here by Aidan Snoek.
Hello.
And Dominic Garcia.
Hello there.
General Dominic. Today we are here. I am a bold one. Today we are here to tier list some of our old short films from high school. And in preparation for this, we have all gone through and re-watched them. I have taken extensive notes, and I'm curious to see. I definitely know for me that some of these, if I hadn't done a rewatch, I'm sure some of my opinions on these would have changed a little bit, and I wouldn't have the new perspective that I have, and I'm really glad I did. So. And
100% agree, yes.
And I'm also curious to see if anybody here will have any arguments or perspectives that will change my mind on some of this. So, really looking forward to it. First off, in my notes, the visual quality out of, I think, all the other films I noticed is definitely the worst. In some shots, specifically with a lot of foliage in the background and a lot of sort of subtle movement, it looks like a very low bit rate. It almost looks standard definition in some places because it's probably a result of me not being as nerdy back then, and I didn't really do a good job at future-proofing it. I probably didn't render it at that high of a bit rate. I did notice some editing problems with a few quick jump cuts, especially where I was under the tree.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I for sure noticed that too. In fact, whenever we were watching it, I went, "Whoa, a lot of cuts!" Like,
yeah, and the part with me and Dominic fighting as well was very.
Ooh,
that was a lot of cuts, and I
we'll get into that.
There's nobody to blame but me for that one, but we'll get there. The red radar thing on the watch made I feel, well, for me it makes sense obviously, but I feel like that was not really conveyed that there was Dominic as well as a bunch of other players sort of closing in. Just sort of look at this spinning like radar wheel thingy, and then I run into the trees. So I feel like for an audience first viewing, that might be kind of confusing.
Right.
Interestingly enough, this is the only film in the entire series with I don't know if anybody else noticed, but shell casings from the bullets come out of the guns. And that's the only one that was ever done for. So it has that.
I didn't notice that it was the only one, but I did notice that it was there.
It is the only one, and it does have that going for it. The plot twist I feel like was handled pretty well, with it being a game. Like, you know, you're having your protagonist suddenly get the quote unquote good guy loses. So yeah, humble beginnings, and pretty good for something that was made by just two 15-year-old kids.
Yeah, dude, two freshmen in high school that were just...
I believe it was sophomore year, actually.
Was it sophomore year? I keep on thinking it's freshman, but yeah, you're right.
It does kind of feel like it sometimes. It does feel like that, because it was... I think we filmed it in like November, so it still kind of had that early high school vibe as compared to the rest of these, which were definitely later high school vibe.
No, for real. Like, I think something that I do nitpick on myself in this film is that I don't know, my acting was not good. I'm not gonna say it ever was, period. But
same, honestly.
I think like, I don't know, we're just kind of just figuring it out, but having a blast while doing it, which that I do admire from that movie. But
I feel like in most of them, all of us are kind of just like smiling like an idiot most of the time, but at the same time, we're having fun, and that really comes across. But...
I got plenty of notes on the smiling as well, and I feel like it should be worth mentioning that the way that we're going to be ranking these things is based on our own personal like opinions and perspectives. It's not necessarily based on, because if we ranked this based on like professionality and stuff like that, I feel like all of them would be a C or below. You know, so this ranking is purely based on our own perspectives and how we feel about this as the people who worked on it and had fun doing it. I would give this one a B.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah, I think That basically just puts it right there.
Yeah,
It'll be
unanimous agreement. It's good beginnings, but it's nothing, that's too special, over the top. It's humble beginnings, as I said, and room for improvement, as we will maybe see later. So yeah, I think I'm glad we have unanimous agreement. Onerous 1, B tier.
So for this one thing that I will say after watching it again, I really like the opening title sequence. I know that some of them are a little bit hard to read because it is white text on a mostly.
Yeah, I had the exact same note. The white cloudy sky with the white text. I did have that. Yeah.
Yes, I will say that I love that there is a title sequence in there. I'm a sucker for a good opening title sequence.
Yeah.
But after watching this one again, definitely some issues with the dialogue as far as being able to hear things because the wind in the background, which we can't necessarily control a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But
and you know what? That's not entirely a. That is avoidable. Like, you could have had people re-record audio, so it's even with bad in-camera audio, it's still it's still a fault if you can't hear anything.
Now I will say that little hand-to-hand fight that you two have at the very end,
easily the best part for me.
I 100% agree. I thought that was great.
I feel like that fight was a lot better than. I think
was a lot better than.
I think any fight in Onerous.
Yeah. I would probably agree.
I think honestly, it probably turned out as good as it did because it was the only one that me and Dominic actually had done a bit of preparation for. I think we actually did choreograph that.
We did
a couple of days before. Yeah. So if I guess practice makes perfect, and that's why that turned out as good as it did. I will say that I think one thing that actually really is good is the I guess the visual style, the high contrast grays, the fake snow effect looks really damn good actually.
I have to say for this one, I absolutely love the concept that you were going for.
Yeah.
And
I should mention this is basically kind of like it's a Chuck fan film with the abilities. And
I know that at one point we also were going to revisit this one and we were going to sort of reboot it, and part of me kind of wishes that we got to do that because I feel like that we could have taken that concept and really done something with it.
Yeah, I think we wanted to film that in senior year, or at least shortly, maybe the summer, between senior year and college. But unfortunately, with COVID and everybody also maybe moving, it was not to be. I will say that the logo is really bad.
I didn't mind it, but now that you mention it,
it looks like Rogu Sentinel. If you look close, the E is impossible to see. Yeah. It kind of just looks like a generic box. Rogu Sentinel.
I never noticed that until you just now mentioned that. Wow. Okay.
I apologize that you will never be.
I'll never be able to unsee it now.
Yeah. One thing that I wrote down as a note was the shot with a bird that happened to be flying behind Connor was kind of neat.
That was kind of neat.
It wasn't super amazing or anything. But it was cool having a bird fly behind Connor when the camera pans up. The sound design was decent, but the editing was bad. I actually went uncredited for this one, but I feel like I with the benefit of hindsight, I shouldn't have done that with somebody who was helping me with the editing. I will take full credit for the terrible cuts and pans in this one. I really don't know what was going through my head in this one because we went from Onerous, which was decent. I feel like my editing, you can see it improve over time, but I feel like this one was definitely a downgrade from Onerous 1 in terms of the editing.
Yeah.
The bullet dodging is hilarious. It looks so goofy.
That was in my notes that I had as well.
If you're gonna pick anywhere to do some cutting and stuff, do it there to make it look like you're dodging at least a little quicker.
Yeah, that was. I don't know how slow those bullets were, but I don't know.
Yeah, Dominic was shooting a Nerf gun at me. Or something like that. And the last note I had was Connor's... It's good for the continuity, but it doesn't look the best, is Connor's missing eye in the final...
Oh, dude.
The final
That's
shot.
what killed it for me.
When he shows up. It killed it. Did it make it worse for you?
I don't know. I mean, whenever like I just see him poking behind a tree or something, just coming out from the wilderness with a missing eye, I was just like,
Yeah.
"Ugh."
I think it
Okay.
was. I think it was just a motion tracked like JPEG. It doesn't even have any like.
There's like no depth to it.
There's no depth. There's no edge feathering. It's just like a bullet hole colored red and pasted on top. So again, for like 15-year-olds making films, it's not the worst thing in the world. But you know what? For Prof Publications, I think it is the worst thing in the world, and I would put this in F.
I gotta 100% agree with you there, bro.
I honestly have it in D, but that is only because there is one here that I like less.
Really? Okay.
Yes. I will discuss that when we get to it.
Well, okay, so for now, if we end up having two in the same category, I think what we'll do is we'll rank them just in categories for now, but at the end of this, during the final discussion, we'll rearrange the stuff that's in the categories to actually get like a full best to worst. But for now, I think what we'll do is we'll just add them to the categories. And I think, Aidan, if this is okay with you, I think since me and Dominic have an agreeing opinion, I feel like it would average out to an F. But
Yeah, that is totally fine. To be honest with you, the only reason why I have it in D and not F is because of the fight that you guys have at the end.
Okay.
I feel like for me that might just bump it up just a little bit, but that is really the only reason.
Yeah, I feel like it's not enough for the whole thing. I feel like you need to think of like big picture. Well, I mean, obviously it plays a part, but I feel like there's just too much bad that it outweighs that one pretty good part. So I think
that's fine.
With two agreeing opinions, I think we'll go ahead and stick in an F tier. But I am curious to see if you can convince me that anything can go below it. So I'm looking,
I
looking
really
forward.
want to know.
Yeah, there's one that is definitely an F for me, but we'll discuss it whenever we get to it.
All right, moving on to Task Impractical. So I should acknowledge that this is the film that most features our late friend Logan Jones, who recently passed away.
Yes.
It was really fun working on this one, and this will be a great thing to remember him by. I really like this one, and I'm glad that we had so much fun working on it with Logan. You can see some behind the scenes stuff in I believe the 5-year special. You can see how much fun we really had doing this, and it's a shame that he's gone. This is also the first one, I believe, that you were involved with in. You might have been involved in a small way with some of the other ones, but I know this is the first one where you did the music, Aidan.
Yeah, this is the first one that I was involved in at all, and that might make me a little bit biased with where I have it ranked, but that
I do really like the soundtrack for this one. The electronic and rock kind of vibes.
Yeah, I really do too. There was at one point where, as I was watching it yesterday, I actually thought to myself, like, this might be one of the soundtracks that I'm the most proud of.
No, and this one, well, I was like, I think I took like a back seat on this one. I was kind of just background actor and everything, but I do remember looking at like the footage that you guys had made, and it seemed like you were saying in the beginning, like, you guys had a blast. There's so many bloopers going on.
Well, I mean, yeah. Okay, so back to what we were saying earlier about the smiling. This is definitely, I think, the one that suffers the most from Prof Publications smiling syndrome.
Yeah.
And I feel like the worst affected was definitely Tyler. But you know what? I can't blame him. This was really fun to work on. Which, in any other tier listing, like this would... that would be something against it. Whereas I feel like for us... like ranking things based on how fun it is and things like that, as well as the final product. But we're allowed to have bias in this one, and I I definitely was smiling behind the camera and in front of the camera for the one shot that I was in this, which is rare for me to not appear in one of these.
One note that I have here is that there is definitely one shot where I just smiled directly into the camera in the middle of a take.
I don't know if I caught. Do you remember which one it was?
It was whenever I was dragging Blake out of the classroom. I had accidentally bumped into a table, and whenever I did that, I smiled right into the camera. One of the judges actually took some points off for that specific reason. That was in one of their notes. Is that
the smiling?
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Yeah. We should mention that this was also a contest short film, and we made it to the quarterfinal round in a student film contest that we were in, and we definitely agreed with the judges' notes, even though I feel like we were kind of banking on the fact that it would have made them laugh, but I feel like unfortunately they were fans of more, and this happened both years we competed. We'll talk about it also in question 27, but this I feel like they were looking for more like serious kind of material, whereas we were kind of just having fun and goofing off, you know?
I do know that one of the judges did say that it was actually refreshing that ours was not depressing.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember one of them saying that, and
yeah,
I can't remember if that was the second round or the first round. Like if
I don't remember
if that one judge would have was trying to get us into the next round, but I don't know. I can't remember. It's been too long. But yeah, I do remember that the behind the scenes was kind of interesting. It was filmed over so many separate days of school. So
yeah,
you'll see the clothes change.
Tell too.
The hair changes a little bit here and there.
Yeah, Logan got a haircut.
Yeah, Logan did get a haircut. If you pay attention to people's clothes, they change a lot. Interestingly enough, to the people that I've shown this, I asked them afterwards if they noticed all the clothes changes, and a lot of people did actually kind of get, like, I wouldn't say fooled, but they didn't pick up on it, so at least there's that. But I feel like we definitely could have, I feel like jackets could have helped. If we all, like, used the same jacket, that would have been a good bit of foresight to have. Another thing was that part of this film had to be rewritten. So...
yeah, I forgot about that.
We originally filmed most of it with the intention of having like a Halloween dance kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think the scene...
I do remember that.
The scene that you filmed in the bathroom was supposed to be like you were breaking off from the crowd.
Like during the dance, yeah.
Yeah, it was during the dance, but we ended up retconning it to just during the same school day.
During.
Yeah. And I do remember the funny behind-the-scenes story where we left that sign on the door where it says, like, bathroom out of order, and then the custodians found it and found us in there filming, which was really awkward.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that. They came in and they were like, "What? Why?"
Yeah, especially because it was such a bad handwritten note. But we can laugh about it after the fact. But yeah, that was really embarrassing.
Especially since they walked in when there was like three of us like standing in like the same stall. I have like a laptop in my hand. They're like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Oh, I realized just how bad it must have been now. Oh. I never thought of it like, oh, that's so. Oh my gosh, well.
Dominic is like standing like right around the corner, so you can't see him.
Yeah, you're a custodian. You walk into the restroom with a stupid handwritten sign trying to keep people out, and you see like 6 people in the bathroom. One of them has a computer. That's so bad. Anyway,
another one has a camera. It probably doesn't look great.
Yeah, I'm filming.
Oh, dude, no.
Yeah, I remember for the dance, I remember spending quite a bit of money on. I bought 2 smoke machines for that, and we never used them. But yeah, this is very much a film full of inside. It was a film for us, and I can really understand if people don't get it. And honestly, I feel like the ending is very rushed, because I think the final shots that we filmed were. I think it was 2 days. Like I had a day and a half to edit the whole thing because we originally thought we weren't going to be able to submit on time. I do remember that we were a bit worried because we didn't end up finishing filming before break.
Yeah, it was like right on the deadline.
So the ending is a bit confusing and can be taken multiple ways. I feel like just for kicks and giggles, I'm not gonna like tell anybody what the canon ending is. It could be that Aidan was the one that bribed Mr. Jeffcoat. It could be that Logan bribed Mr. Jeffcoat. But you know what? That is having
Let's just leave it
ambiguity.
open-ended.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But again, I will say that is definitely it's definitely the worst part of it is the ending.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
And if it had a better ending, it might go up a category or even maybe 2. But for me personally, I would probably put this as a C.
I was thinking the same thing. A good old
Okay.
C.
What do you think, Aidan?
No, I was just thinking B, just because, like, for me, like I said, it's the first one I was, and for me, it is also one of the soundtracks that I am the most proud of. But that is like a different.
The soundtrack is iconic. It was really good.
But yeah, as far as the rest of it, I 100% agree.
Okay. Yeah, I think we can. I think with the majority again, and I think we'll have to put it in C for now. But you know, again, this can change. It might end up staying the highest in the C tier. All right, next up, Onerous 2. You want to know my first note?
Sure.
S tier.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Whenever I think of high school Prof Publications, this is the vibe that I think of. Is Onerous 2.
This is the.
Well, this one was just like it was the most fun to make too.
It was the most fun. It was. It had really good music. I think we both worked on the music for this one. We sort of double teamed it. You did it more so. I'm not going to try and say that it was 50-50. You definitely did more than me. I'll admit that for sure. But it was fun being able to. Because for Rogue Sentinel, it was royalty-free stuff, and for Onerous 1, it was more so me remixing music that already existed, whereas this one was my first time actually making full songs for something. So that was that was a fun challenge, and I don't think the stuff that I made sounded bad. I made Spike the Punch, which I still listen to.
Spike the Punch, baby.
Really good music from Aidan Snoek as well. I love Dancing Pants Lightning and Combat.
I do too.
One thing that I'm not going to just absolutely, sing this one's praises, though. I will admit that even though I would put this as an S, and I feel like y'all do too, there is some legit criticisms here and there. I think the color grade was kind of ugly. Sort of the washed out yellows. I feel like the color grade for I think what I was going for was the in-game stuff would be more warm colors, and the IRL stuff would be more cool colors. So like you have sort of the blues and greens in the IRL stuff, and then the yellows and oranges in the in-game.
Right.
I feel like the color grade was definitely better in the real life stuff.
Yeah.
The comedy was on point. Me crushing my car keys and it setting off the car. Connor's drunk stuff.
That is one of the notes that I have here.
The vomit in the hat.
Definitely one of the funniest ones that we have.
The vomit
in the hat.
The vomit in the hat. The scene where you, Aidan, were in the sunroof was hilarious. I burst out laughing when I was rewatching.
Yeah.
And
I'm not gonna lie to you, so they.
Yeah, hilarious in a good way. I should clarify. Like a lot of this stuff, I might say, like in Rogue Sentinel, a lot of it is hilarious for a different reason. This
also
is really good.
Might I add how dangerous and stupid it was of us before that shot with you like hanging off the side of the car holding an iPhone filming it?
I think I can put up some behind the scenes pictures showing me hanging out. I don't know if we have one. I definitely have one of me filming Dominic driving the car. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we have a shot of me. I really wish we had a shot of me hanging off the side filming you up in the. I'll have to double check, but I don't think we do. But we definitely have a shot of me hanging. You know that thing that your mom grabs when she thinks you're driving crazily. The Jesus
bars.
Yeah, the Jesus bars. I think basically I would film one-handed. I would hold onto that with one hand and use the iPhone to film. This was all shot on iPhones, by the way. So that's another thing that I will say, which I don't think brings it down in any way. But this was filmed. This was filmed on iPhones, and it definitely looks, from a visual standpoint, probably a little worse than some of our other stuff that uses my nice camera. But Yeah, it still looks better than Onerous 1 because of the bit rate being better, but I think some of the scenes might look a bit blocky. Some of it might be YouTube compression, but yeah, I do sometimes wish that we had filmed it on a better camera, but honestly, the content itself makes up for all of that stuff.
I agree, 100%.
And one thing that I should mention in my rewatch, I genuinely forgot that there was a post-credit scene. It confused.
I did too.
It confused me.
I nearly forgot about it, and then I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I remembered afterwards, but when I saw it fading back in, I was like, wait, what? Like somebody hijacked my short film and added a scene. It was just I think it was just a goofing off like behind the scenes shot of Porter dancing. That I just decided. Well,
because he was just like doing that like while we were shooting it all day, and we were like, hey, can you do it one more time? And we just like die.
Yeah, I think, and I should say, I think my last note that I have is Connor in this is my favorite Prof Publications character in any of the films.
Yes, Connor is amazing.
He plays well to the character, man. He does so good with it.
And
he really does.
A lot of the drunk stuff, I don't think it was scripted. I think it was just Connor gets drunk in the script, and a lot of that was his ideas and stuff. It was just improv.
It's especially the bit where he's like, I'm handcuffed to the microwave. I'm pretty sure we just found those, and he was like, hey, what if I...
Yeah, I had some very cheap like Walmart plastic handcuffs, and we decided to just have him attached to the microwave, not being able to grab a cup.
Yeah.
That was kind of awkward. Like, I opened my prop drawer. It was for when we were getting ready for the... Because we filmed... in the order we filmed it was... we filmed the shooting stuff, the in-game stuff first, and then we filmed the IRL stuff later that evening. And I remember when I was grabbing all the, like, guns and grenades or whatever... y'all saw handcuffs in my drawer, and we're like, "What the heck was that?" And that was a funny moment right there. It's like, I promise, it's not kinky stuff. It's a movie prop, guys.
I swear.
Yeah. So yeah, do you?
I do remember that some of this was shot like a week later too. Like that final bit with you and Dominic fighting at the end. Like that was shot like a week later. And the way that we had to shoot that was hilarious too, because it was y'all laying on the ground, and I was like crouched behind you. I'm holding the phone in front of your face.
I do have a shot of that. I'm glad you do. That. Like it was, we were struggling for the knife, right? It was that bit where I'm above Dominic, and you're behind me with the phone in front of my eyes.
Yeah, and then we had to do it again with me like laying on my stomach.
Yeah.
From his perspective.
But you know what? If it works, it works.
One note that I have here is the controllers weren't connected.
Nope, they weren't. I didn't write that down, but I remember exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They're blinking. The lights are blinking.
Also, I think from shot to shot we might switch from like Xbox One controllers to like 360 controllers. I think
so.
Yeah. So there's no continuity there with the controllers, but. Honestly, this is just nitpicks, and I feel like this is just such a good one that I'm still... This can never be anything other than S for me.
Mm-hmm. I 100% agree. One final note that I do have is I love the squish sound whenever Connor's face falls back into the hat.
Oh, the squish... Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think I googled like muddy boot step sound, if I remember correctly. And that's what that
It works, man.
That's what that was. So yeah, S tier, unanimous agreement. You love to see it.
100%, yes.
So next up is the red spiral, aka the one that I keep forgetting exists.
Me too, and I will say this one is the one that was my least favorite. This one is the one that kind of surprised me.
Really? Okay.
Really?
Yes. I will say that I was entertained the whole time, and I laughed, but I feel like I was laughing for all the wrong reasons, and it's just because of how cringe it was.
Yeah. So,
but this one 100% was filmed as just a way to get out of class.
Yeah, this had I wrote that down as well. This had no scripts. It was all sort of improvised as we went. Also, it probably wasn't even fully outlined when we started filming. We kind of just...
Not at all, no. We kind of just
went and saw where it would go.
The fight between me and Logan is a lot of just grabbing each other's jackets. and
Yes.
spinning in circles.
Yeah, I do remember an outtake where, because we didn't have any choreography, and I'm glad we reshot that. Was when y'all were just grabbing jackets and spinning around, and I think I say, what kind of fight is this? Yeah, but we were basically just goofing off in class, and we wanted something to do. I think this might have been the last week of school as well. So
I think it was. It was like right after we finished our final, we were just like, hey, could we go film something real quick?
Oh yeah, we were like, hey, we need to film something important, and
Yeah.
we didn't know.
And then-
We just didn't want to hang out in class.
I remember there was a classroom right next to us that had windows, and there was a class in there trying to take their final, and they kept on staring at us as we were filming the fights.
Yeah, and there would be people walking through the hallways, because we were.
There's that one shot where someone is just very clearly like walking behind us.
Oh yeah, there's people sitting in the hallway in the back. It's that one shot where Logan flies backwards. It's
yeah.
you see a couple of people just sitting in the hallway, and then you see one person just walking around. I feel like if I saw this like superhero fight, I would probably be running in the other direction. But you know, whatever.
Yeah. Another criticism that I have is that Zane doesn't use his power to win. He just needs Brian in the face.
I had that as well. Like I feel like if we wanted to have that, I feel like maybe I could have edited like whenever he knocks Brian over. I feel like maybe I could have added like a bit of motion blur and then like the super speed sound, so it's like he super speed knocks him over, and that probably would have avoided that whole thing. I do love the shot where Logan and Brian peek around the corner.
I love that as well. For me, this one I would say is probably my least favorite, just because I feel like our performances are not great. Looking back on it, I don't like the music as much because I think that the vibe doesn't fit as well.
Yeah, the sort of like more like Eastern influence kind of music soundtrack was.
I think it was just like something that I had already. We were like, sure, throw that in there.
it might have been a pre-made soundtrack. Also, I feel like I feel like I should clarify that it's not a bad piece of music. It probably just doesn't fit, you know.
Yeah. That's 100%.
I don't think the performances were terrible. It was intentionally cheesy.
Yeah, I
do agree to some extent though.
Just after rewatching it, I was just like, man, I forgot how much I didn't like this one.
Yeah.
But that's just my personal opinion. I don't know where y'all rank it, but for me, this one is the one where I was like, this kind of surprised me that it was my least favorite.
I was also a bit confused as Dustin's cameo at the end, which it was just more of the cheesiness that.
It was the Thanos bit.
Yeah. I think this is the same year Endgame came out. It might have been Infinity. Yeah. No, it was Endgame. Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
And so that was obviously, on our minds at the time.
One thing that I do like is that I keep on making jokes about how everything that they're saying is copywritten. I like that a lot.
Oh yeah, you did have that running joke. I think you said it 2 or 3 times, like copyright. So it was very clearly like a fourth wall breaking, like just not taking itself seriously. Which, you know what? Yeah. Because of that, I feel like Aidan, you're based on what you've said, you're probably going F. If I had to guess.
Yeah.
I had it at C. Purely based on the fact that it was, because the way I'm ranking this is based on enjoyment and just dumbness. But I can be convinced to put it lower than where I had it.
I would say that it was a lot of fun to make at the time for what it was, but after rewatching it, I was like, I don't think I can get into this.
Yeah, and if it is the one that I keep forgetting exists, then it probably is that for a reason. It's not very memorable.
Right.
Dominic, where would you rank this out of 6 categories? What are you thinking?
I was thinking kind of in the middle. I'm kind of thinking like a D, only because I will not lie. Like, this short film was honestly like one of my favorites, and I'll tell you why. Like, I just enjoyed like the whole like not taking itself seriously, and I love like, I don't know why, it was just me in my mind. think in this spot. I just always love it whenever Zane was using his super speed. That just always got the biggest laugh.
that was
no reason.
That is a pretty
that was funny.
Pretty funny shot. I love that shot. Also, I feel like my editing there, you can tell that I tried to add. This was before I figured out motion blur, like at least in a really good way. So you can kind of see that. I think it's fake motion blur that I used for that running speed. I think if you pause it, you'll actually see it's just frame blending. So like it's sped up, and then you have like one frame behind where it's looping the frames. So it's just playing sort of in an image sequence, basically. One thing that I forgot we also did this for when he throws you. Wait, who? No, Logan throws you against the wall.
Yeah.
With like super strength. I think it was supposed to be Logan's power. Brian had invisibility.
Yes.
And I think the way we filmed that was you slowly backed up. So when I sped it up, you couldn't tell that you were just shuffling your feet backwards really slowly, which I'm sure also looked really awkward for the people in the hallway.
I remember there was one blooper from this one in particular where I stop and I just look at you and I just go, "This is so stupid."
Yeah, I think that is a direct quote.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might have been generous putting it C. I'm surprised about the F, but I suppose I can see it.
I'll go ahead and agree with Dominic and say D.
That's what I was also going to say, is I think, like, with all of our opinions weighted together and with, like, going in the middle of it, I think a D, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, it's where it averages out.
Alright, this next one, I'm very, very curious to hear people's opinions.
Really? Holy smokes.
So, Onerous 3, for quite a long time, and still definitely I will admit, a bit of a lesser extent, this one, I really, like, clowned on this one. This one is definitely the worst of the Onerous ones, but
I agree.
Not as bad as I remember it being, though, I will say. I probably was too harsh on it.
100% agree. One thing that I noted on there is that I think that this might have my second favorite performance from Dominic in it, just because of that scene alone where he is like bleeding and he just like smears it across his face. That was for me, that was really cool. It was one of my favorite shots in it.
Yeah, that's my favorite Prof Publications probably shot.
Yeah,
I love that visual.
I thought that was really cool.
We should clarify that this was a real injury, and we wanted to stop filming, but Dominic was the one that told us to keep filming.
I wanted to keep on going, man.
Yeah, because we were like, "Hey, man, are you okay?" And he was like, "I have an idea. Keep going.
Like,
just let me do my thing for a second.
It looks cool. Keep going." So yeah, we
that's pretty much what he said. He was like, "I have something that I want to try," and then he did that, and we were like, "That was badass. That was awesome."
Yeah. Just wanted to get that out there, whether we're not bad friends.
Yeah, if you pay attention, he has a Band-Aid on his eyebrow for the rest of
Yep.
The first note that I have written down here for this one just says exposure issues.
Yes. Particularly, I think the worst one. It was definitely pretty bad in the outside scenes with in the forest.
Yeah.
But I think the part where it's the worst is when Dominic.
It's whenever he answers the door.
No, it was Dominic's. It's Dominic's house, and he opens the door for.
When you guys come inside.
Yeah. It's whenever Seth and I my face has basically no detail in it.
Yeah,
I'm just a pasty white ghost in that first shot.
I think I made this joke in the director's commentary, but it was like the sun was in the living room that day.
Yeah.
But speaking of the sun, it was almost as if it might have been there, because this one was miserable to film.
Oh, yes, it was. This was the first one where it. Yeah. This was the first one where it genuinely felt like we were doing it because we had to, not because we wanted to.
That is a great way of putting it, actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like, I feel like part of the reason it turned out as bad as it did is because none of us were having fun.
Yeah, none of us really wanted to do it. There's a few points with, you could tell that none of us really had, the energy to do it, especially with some of the deliveries that we give. You can just tell, we don't want to be there.
I didn't even finish putting on my costume for the scene. Remember when we're in the, it's the opening scene. It's in the field, and I join the game, and I appear. You can see that I didn't even bother, putting on my full costume. My sleeves were rolled up, and my vest wasn't clipped together.
Well, part of the reason why I have a directing credit for this one is just because you got like so hot. You were like, I just need to take a break. Like,
it wasn't just that, but yeah, you are correct. I did for all the stuff that I was miserable. I sort of let you, like, I just trusted you to sort of direct people and figure out what was happening.
Yeah, because with like that opening scene in particular, I just remember you were like, I am so goddamn hot, I need to sit down for a minute.
Yeah, I found a tree to sit under, and I was just like, you guys film. This isn't my scene. I'm not in this. You go.
Pretty much exactly how it went down. And like I got hurt somehow filming that one too. I think I was running and I tripped on a rock or something. I remember like I got home and I was all bleeding too. It was just miserable. It was
I think what that was. I think I remember is like we were really rushed for time. Like classic Dominic, had somewhere else to be, and so me and Aidan were like, oh crap, we need to run back to the house and get all these props like from my truck or whatever. So we ran over, we grabbed like some of the swords and whatever, because we were on borrowed time. And I think while we were running either to or back from the car, you like twisted your ankle or something, or maybe cut your. I can't remember what it was, but you definitely got injured as well.
Yeah, I think it was that I kicked a rock and I twisted my ankle, and I remember I got home and like my leg was all bloody.
Man, yeah. It was a miserable experience, and I feel like it definitely translates into the final product.
Also, you can tell that the ending of this one was a little rushed too, because like this one was supposed to be the one that showed all of like the tournament and everything, and then we had to do a rewrite on this one too because we ran out of time. It
would have honestly, I don't know, because there is an alternate universe. Yes, this was originally scripted to have the first round of the tournament at the end of this one. Where we were sitting on the couch and playing against some random team. But honestly, I don't know if that would have made it worse, because it wouldn't have been a satisfying ending, because we spent the entire film...
Right, it would have been rushed.
We spent the entire film building up the Saffron team, only to have the climax of the
final fight be someone else.
Be against a completely random team. So you know what? It might have been a good call to not film that, in a way.
I do love... I think that Brian is fantastic in this. I think that he was really great.
So is Dominic.
Think that he really did a good job with that. Dominic is really good in this too. I would say Dominic probably your best performance, 100%.
I feel like this is the moment where I spread my wings.
Yeah, there is one more performance of yours that I like a little bit more that we'll get to later, but I will say that you were fantastic in this.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this was peak Dom, or close to peak Dom.
Yeah.
I loved the cleaning up scene.
Yes, I did too. I love whenever he finds the hat and he's like, oh no.
The continuity references are really good with like the handcuffs on the microwave and the vomit hat.
Yeah, that was great. One thing that I do have as a note here is that the editing feels like a sitcom.
That's not an inaccurate way of putting it, I would say.
That's because of all the wipes and everything. Now I think that it's great and it works great for this vibe, but I also do love the confrontation in front of the house.
That felt very like West. It felt very West Side Story is what I have in my notes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and I thought that was great. Also, you like straight up actually hit.
Yes, I did.
You straight up actually hit on Ethan whenever we were filming that.
I think we used that take. I did check with him. I did check just to see. There was so much injury. I didn't even realize so much injury was involved with this one.
I remember that like right after that happened, you were like, "Oh God, are you okay?"
Yeah, I really felt bad, but he was cool with it.
Yeah.
He's like, as long as it looks cool, I'm not injured. So also, I should clarify, it wasn't a hard punch. It was
no, not at all. It's just it definitely happened.
But yeah, I always feel bad when something like that happens. We definitely weren't able to put the no people were harmed in the making of for this one for sure.
No, everybody had some sort of injury.
Everybody was harmed in the making of this film. Do you imagine if I put that in the credits? Everyone involved was injured in the making of this motion picture.
Also, I do kind of love the scenes that we have with John. I feel like he was really funny in this too. Whenever he's like alcoholics.
Oh, I do have a note for this. He was my favorite character in this one.
I 100% agree. I think that he was great.
Which might not be the same case for first time watchers. I feel like this.
Yeah.
I feel like again that kind of side of it with John sort of is more of the Prof Publications like sort of goofing around kind of vibe. But for us, I think it's really funny.
I remember that whenever we were trying to get to my grandma's house to film that, your truck could like barely make it up the hill.
Oh yeah, like it was such a steep incline, and I was driving because my car. I don't remember why I didn't take my car. It might have been like in the shop or something. I don't really know, but
I know that we were using the truck for the film as well because that was what Brian was driving.
Yeah.
But he also drives your car at one point too.
yeah. Oh yeah, the cars. Even in Onerous 2, the cars change all the time. Like I think in Onerous 2, I get into an F-150, and then I'm it turns into a Suburban, and then when I arrive at your house, like it turns into like somebody else's truck in the it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it turns into my dad's truck at the end. It's like a gray one.
Yeah. So yeah, and
it's just like it's close enough. It's fine.
Yeah, the same truck that I'm driving in Onerous 3, I think when I go to Dominic's house, is the same one that Brian arrives in.
Yes.
Yeah. But
I just remember you were like flooring it. We were going like 15 miles an hour up the hill. That was really funny.
Yeah, I forgot about that, to be honest. But yeah, you're right. One note I do have is I would say the effects were pretty good in this one. Like the holograms. Yeah. Whenever I join, whenever I pull up the hologram and like I join the match, and then you guys leave the match, like there's the same little hologram effect. I think that's the only time we actually ever had anything like that in the Onerous series. It's sort of a one-off thing.
I think that it still looks great too. Like that was one note that I had too. Is like even now, like that looks great.
It does, and I feel like if we ever end up doing another one or an animation that we talked about, like maybe doing something like that. I feel like kind of would want to bring that back.
Which, by the way, me and John were actually talking about whenever we shot this fairly recently, and he is like 100% in if we ever decide to.
Oh hell yeah!
Explore that. So
the man.
My final note I think that I have is I don't know if you agree, Aidan, because this is more like. This would be based on your own opinions and perspectives, but I think this is my favorite music of any of the films.
That was actually one of the final notes that I had too. Is I am honestly really proud of what I did for this one.
I still listen to this music, honestly.
I do too, all the time. I'm not even gonna lie. Especially the final song. I forget what we named it.
Turntables, right?
In particular. Yeah, that one.
That one was really good. I feel like if I hadn't rewatched it, I would put it in F, but I feel like I would put it in D now.
I honestly have it in C, but that is only because, like I was saying a second ago, I'm just very proud of the music that I did for it, but that is like a me perspective thing.
I do feel like that this one was so much build up only to not pay off.
Yeah, it was a lot of build up that led to nowhere.
Yeah. Dominic, what are you thinking?
Man, as usual, I'm just split because I'm a little biased with this film because I don't know, I had such a great time. Yeah. I do like
you definitely had the least outdoor scenes.
That is true, yeah.
That is true. I remember one thing, it's funny enough, whenever you brought how like the brightness was super high. There's like this one scene where we go inside and I'm at the door and I'm wearing a white shirt, right? So you can see maybe my glasses and that's just
it was like the power of the sun in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
I
love that. Nice.
But man, I'm really split here. I am thinking C. But you guys are making like really good points here because it really honestly did lead to like nothing. We finished the film and then we're in that room and we're like, all right, let's do it.
And then it ends.
Yeah, and then even in like the follow up, that scene in particular kind of led to nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I would be willing to put it. Maybe it probably would end up as a low C. But
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
I am willing to compromise if both of you are thinking of putting it in C, because I do see some of the redeeming qualities of it. Definitely way more so than I would have if I hadn't, rewatched this. I would. Yeah, if I hadn't rewatched it, I would still be gunning hard for an F. But
I honestly agree. It was a lot better than I remembered it being, but I think that was just because of the time our experience making it was so miserable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you're still thinking, both of you thinking C tier?
Yeah.
Okay. I will compromise, and we'll put it in C. This is the homecoming video.
This is the homecoming video, baby. Jeez Louise. Okay. What can I say about this this video? I gotta tell you guys, like, I don't know. I had such a great experience filming it. There were so many scenes where I just enjoyed myself. I don't know. Like, I kind of like put it aside from like the rest, because the rest is just like, we're making a film and it's just part of like the series that we're making is blast. But with this one, I don't know. It's just like a bunch of guys just kind of like we had an outline of what we were gonna do, but we just improv like most of it. We had a blast.
I would say like 80%. Yeah.
Yeah, we had the stuff we had to cover, but the rest of it was just us having fun and goofing off. The jokes in this are so good. Like the Colin's pink slip.
Yes,
just walking out of the classroom because Nash is like, "Well, don't leave.
Where are you going?"
Yeah, where are you going?
One of my favorite. My first note is that Nash was just standing there menacingly the entire time Dominic and Colin were talking.
Oh yeah.
And I felt like that was hilarious. That made me crack up. And
to this day, dude, I'm wondering like what was going through his mind. He was just staring at us.
Well, I mean,
just doing like the coolest dap up ever.
That might be my fault for not really telling him what to do after he lets Colin in.
I think that it works. I think it honestly makes it funnier.
I think so too, honestly.
Yeah.
There's a meme somewhere that I have that somebody sent to me where they took a screenshot from that video. And it was that, and it was like he's just standing there menacingly.
Yeah. Yeah. The Colin dreaming sequence was funny. I can never go with you. Good. Like the over dramatic, like pretending like the dramatic like head touch. We can't be together, Romeo or whatever. That kind of thing. The cheesy like high five whenever Colin and Dominic are going to homecoming, like he asks Dominic out.
Bro, I got decked in the face, dude.
Oh yeah, you did.
By Maya.
I will say, I love that scene where you get punched in the face. I'm sorry, Dominic, I just do.
That's fine. That's fair. I mean, it's fair. But I love the part before where I get to shove her.
That was really funny.
Yeah, the part where you get to shove her got like a genuine laugh out of me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and this is actually like the first. Technically, you can say that this is our first thing that ever had like a test audience, because we had to deliver this to a teacher for approval, and
the vice principal, right?
No, it was. I don't want to name names or anything, but it was just for privacy purposes or anything like that. But it was one of the English teachers who would usually sort of approve these kind of like spirit like things, like the the school spirit, that kind of stuff.
Right, I forgot about that. We had to do that.
So we before the video was like finally approved, we were walking it down the hall, and we didn't know that he had a class, and we had to show it to him, and he was in the middle of class, and we were like, oh, sorry, we'll come back later. Like, we brought it on a flash drive, and he was like, no, we'll watch it right now. And so we spent like however long this is, like 10 minutes, watching it, and it got a big laugh from a crowd, and it was a really interesting experience. Having a sort of a premiere like test audience kind of environment for something that we did.
It was really cool though, and it was really cool to see the reactions though, because that was.
Oh yeah. What I do, and well, this might come back around when we talk about another video on this list, but one thing that I will say is that rewatching it, so much of it was spent explaining stuff, which was necessary considering this was supposed to be an informational kind of thing.
That's what it's supposed to be.
But I feel like upon a rewatch, the pacing could have been a little bit better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And maybe we could have incorporated, like, we could have done it a little bit quicker, and we could have incorporated the comedy into a bit more of the explanation scenes, because I feel like the structure of this video is comedy, information, and not
Agreed.
comedy and information at the same time.
Yeah.
The ending scene is really funny. With
Dance party.
The dance. I loved your character in this, and your character arc.
Yeah, my one time that I ever played a villain.
Yeah. I loved the scene where it wasn't even in the script, but I forgot that we had you as an extra in the cafeteria, and they realize you're there, and then they run away. That wasn't in the script. You just started chasing them.
Yeah. No, but I thought that was really funny.
Oh man, wasn't your line, Aidan, before? What is it? Before we say dance party, it was like, I just want to be loved or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Like I just want to be loved and have a good time or something like that.
Yeah, that was so good. Such a well delivered line. I love that.
I was about to say that is one of my favorite deliveries of myself, is the way that I said that.
I love that line. It's really good. It's classic. But yeah, I think after my rewatch, I probably would put this as an A.
I agree because of
really good.
The pacing and everything.
Yeah, the pacing, the information I feel like wasn't incorporated as well. It sort of is. It's an abrupt change from going from comedy to information. I feel like before the rewatch, I probably would have been biased to put it as an S, but nah. This
I agree.
I feel like definitely it's especially we'll get to another one on this list later that.
When you compare them,
yeah, whenever we compare, but I definitely would probably put this as an A. I don't know if I would go. I think a B would be too harsh. I think this is, especially the nature of this and how we're ranking them based on our own personal enjoyment. I feel like
I would say that this is a solid A.
Yeah, I gotta agree.
Okay. Next up is a video that was not originally intended to be sort of like a big funny project, but it sort of ended up turning into something like that. It is the cricket hunt, and a bit of a bit of context. There was I think a storm the previous day, and it caused a bunch of crickets to emerge, and they started sort of invading the school. They were everywhere.
It was an invasion. Yes,
it was real bad. I think this is by far the least serious one out of everything.
100%.
Ben's accent was surprisingly good.
It was. There's one scene in particular in this one that I absolutely love, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
I loved me getting swarmed by the green screen crickets.
That was really funny.
Just raiding from the heavens.
I love the look that Colin has on his face.
Yeah.
In that moment.
Me and Colin's reaction was so different. Like I'm like pretending I'm getting like infested. They're all in my clothes or whatever, and I fall to the floor. Colin is just like, oh no. I love the difference there. There's a part in this where you sneeze out some crickets, which is kind of disgusting.
Yeah, I forgot I did that until we went back and rewatched it.
You were holding live crickets, right? In your hand?
I was, yes. Yeah.
And then you pretend to sort of sneeze them out.
Yeah, and then I was like, they're everywhere, man.
Yeah. Yes, and I think all of Ben's dialogue for this was improvised, and he was really good at it.
Yeah, we 100% had no script for this at all. Ben did great.
He was a natural host. Like, don't want to get him on your Yeezys or stuff like that.
That was good.
That was a terrible accent on my part. I apologize for subjecting to all of that.
Yeah, so there's a bit at the end where Ben is like, I can't take this anymore. I gotta get out of here. And he goes to reach for the fire alarm, and as soon as he touches it, he sets off like an actual alarm, and the fear in his eyes is one of the funniest things that I have ever seen. Because that was like that was genuine fear, and like you could tell like from him and from you because like the camera immediately just like shuts off and darts down to the ground.
Oh yeah, you
it's just like, oh shit, what do we do?
I think you can even faintly hear me being like, oh my god.
Yeah,
we're dead.
And then, but we were able to use that and get probably a really funny ending with Smiley too, where we were able to get Ben on the golf cart and Smiley just
that was really good. That was really funny. I do remember that me and you would be terrible in an emergency situation because our first instinct was well, not necessarily for like an emergency situation, but our first instinct to potentially getting in real big trouble was hiding in the bathroom that has no other exit. That's right next to the fire alarm.
Yeah, because it was like right across from the bathroom, and we were like, "Oh shit, run!" We're like darting here now.
I think I don't remember if we talked about that in the podcast that we did last month, but we.
But yeah, no, it was like, oh god, what do we do? Hide in here.
Yeah, because we were because I think our initial thought was because I didn't know how it worked. I thought that the entire school was beeping. I didn't realize it was just that one.
That's what I thought too. I thought it was like the entire school and that we were going to be in like super big trouble, and we were like, oh fuck, what do we do?
We're clearly on security cameras doing this. It's hiding in the bathroom is not going to help.
There's no getting out of it. And honestly, like the office staff was like super cool about it, and they were just like, you fucking.
Well, I mean, yeah, in the end they were cool because nothing bad actually happened. But I remember the front office lady was really annoyed with us.
Yeah, she was like really annoyed that like she had to like act like. I'm pretty sure she was just annoyed that like she had to deal with it. Because she was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but I mean, it all ended up fine. The school wasn't like we didn't have to have everybody go outside from the fire alarm.
Yeah, and I remember that like whenever we released it, a lot of people really like that was the moment that we definitely heard about the most from people that actually watched it. They were like, whenever y'all set off that alarm, it was hilarious. And it's like, we didn't mean to.
Yeah. And I remember when this premiered as part of like our weekly broadcasts, like for the school news, we had to leave a little disclaimer, like we do not condone this behavior.
Yeah. Yeah, like do not mess with the fire alarms.
Do not pull fire alarm. Here's what not to do. Yeah. I don't think I have that footage anymore, but yeah, we definitely wanted, like our teacher was like, this is funny, I'll allow it, but you guys need to make sure that we don't have people doing this.
Make sure it doesn't happen again.
Because people are stupid and might think, oh, that was funny, I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
Which definitely, if you're watching this and you're in high school or any school, do not do that.
Don't do it.
Please don't. Yeah.
So originally, honestly, this conversation might have changed my mind. I had this as a C for cricket, but
I had mine as a B.
Really? I was gonna say it might have convinced me to put it lower.
Really? I had mine as B already, and I was gonna say that this probably really solidified where I had it, because I just think that it was a good time making it. Really, we have like a good personal experience with it. Overall, it is funny, but I mean, if you want to put it lower, I also have no problem with that.
So if I'm changing to a D and you're going, you were still thinking B, maybe we could just go back to my original C.
We could.
What do you think?
What do you think, Dominic?
Jinx?
That is always what's happening. This is a pattern, but
yeah, he's been a tiebreaker a lot.
As always, gentlemen, as always, you're gonna see. I kind of think it's like at a C, and I'll tell you why. Because I definitely enjoyed it, like watching it a lot more than like the Red Spiral. So that's kind of like what's pushing me forward. I'm like, you know what? I think it's just better than Red Spiral. I feel like it was a funny video. Honestly, it was pretty informative.
No, it was thoroughly entertaining.
Yeah, it was definitely made for its time. Like any other time watching this, like you can still get the context, but this was especially funny for people while the crickets were still there.
Yeah, at the time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would say that for that reason, then I have no problem putting it a little bit lower if you wanted to, and just putting it in C like Dominic was saying.
Yeah, I think we'll go C for crickets.
Yeah.
C for good old cricket.
I love that thumbnail. It's so good.
C for crikey.
Crikey, yes.
Question 27. That one, I think, I think that one still holds up now.
Oh, this one's... I definitely think that this, out of our two... I mentioned earlier that Task Impractical was our 2019 competition film. Question 27 was our 2020 competition film. I definitely think that it's easily the better of the two.
I honestly forgot how much I enjoyed this one until I went back and watched it last night. This is another one where it probably would have been in a very different spot if I hadn't gone back to rewatch it.
Same. This was a really good. This was really fun to watch. This is really well done.
It was really fun to watch, and I love. I think that Ben is great in it. I think that Isaiah is fantastic in it. I think that he's hilarious.
Yes.
Reed is great, as always.
His only Prof Publications appearance, and he knocks it out of the park. He did great, Isaiah.
Yeah. He was amazing.
I definitely think a note I have is the camera work, especially in the opening scene, is definitely better than Task Impractical by miles.
Yes, 100%. I agree.
Not as much shakiness. The panning around was done really well. Visually, it looks a lot better. I think the color grade is better. The comedic bits, with the time period being wrong and the modern warship are funny, like the anachronisms, I think is the right word, just in the wrong time. I enjoyed those.
I love that Ben just has a laser gun.
Yes, that too.
At some point in the background too.
I'm surprised I didn't write that down. I guess I was getting so enraptured, and I was just so used to it not being serious that I forgot about the laser gun.
I completely forgot about that point where I just used my entire body to throw myself into those boxes.
I did write that down. Yeah, that was good. I think I audibly I was laughing when I saw that. I forgot about that.
I had forgotten about it too, and I kind of hate the fact that I made myself laugh so much in that moment.
I remember the green screen looking worse than it did.
Yeah. That was
because we had a very small space to work with. I didn't have a.
It was very small.
The green screen. To skip ahead a little bit, the green screen in Task Unfathomable, which is also a very green screen heavy film, was far larger than what we had to work with in Question 27. In Question 27, we only had it was a few meters, a few meter length of a square of green screen fabric that we duct taped to the wall. Whereas Task Unfathomable was actually my professional green screen stand. It was huge, but I feel like the green screen looks better in this one. And
I agree.
It still doesn't look the best, but compared to my memory of this, the green screen shots look surprisingly good.
Another note that I have is I love the bit where they are climbing the boat and it's just the bumper of your car.
I do remember that, yes. I didn't even bother finding a wooden... I just took a picture of the bumper of my car and was like, yeah, this'll do. That bit where they're climbing...
Your dad was holding the rope.
my dad was holding the rope as they climbed, and they were... That was a real funny shot.
I remember whenever we were shooting that, Isaiah was like, the behind the scenes of this will never be shown to anybody.
It immediately shows it in the 7-year special, I think. Or
yes.
Maybe 6. I can't remember which year it was.
He also loved that, though. I ran into him very shortly after that, and he was like, nope, yeah, that's funny.
I remember talking to him a little, because this was almost by the time, I think this was February, maybe?
Yeah.
So we didn't have much school left because COVID was March, but I do remember bumping into him and we were talking about it and laughing, and he really enjoyed it, and I'm glad. I think the weakest part of the film for me has to be the second sword duel when Isaiah helps Ben.
He's very clearly just waving the sword around everywhere.
Yeah, I think the term we used was Attack of the Clones style of fighting.
Yeah, with all
the super
With,
close up,
the flashing lights and everything too. The super close up flashing lights. That
yeah, there's no need for choreography when you just have very shaky camera, very close up, which is not a good mindset to have. Do not ever think that you can get away with stuff like that, because clearly we could not get away with it.
That is definitely the weakest part. The sword fight between Reed and Ben,
that's pretty good. That's decent.
Yeah. But the second sword fight is definitely not.
Yeah, he was waving it around like a stick.
I think at one point it was a close up of him, and he's just waving it around in like a circle with a shield in his hand, and he's just waving the sword around.
Yeah, see, well, I could tell that Reed was trying his best to sort of like kind of like deflect like his strikes, but it was Reed very clearly just couldn't make that work. And you know what?
Because Reed is actually a very talented swordsman, really.
Yeah, he is. And I was gonna say that is my fault, because it was night and we kind of had to go kind of soon.
Yeah.
So I think I was the one who made the executive decision to just go for it without any kind of choreography. And
I remember the way that we shot it to get all like the flashing lights was I had like a spotlight or something in my hand, and I was literally just like waving it around in random directions.
That was you, just on the spotlight, just moving it around. I thought it might have been my dad, but I think it was you actually.
Yeah. It might have been both of us. We might have had two lights. I don't remember.
Maybe I can't remember, but yeah, I think my maybe not my favorite, but another really good part in this was near the end where he goes crazy and like he's like, I figured out the answer, and then we realized that he spent all of his time that was allotted for the test on thinking about that one answer, which is a surprisingly relatable problem.
I love the bit whenever he just like rips it up and he's like, "Oh, jinkies."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That part is so good.
That wasn't scripted. I remember that for sure. I think he just yelled that.
I love I also love whenever he goes to like turn and he's just like, "All right, you have a great day. See you next class," like as if nothing happened.
I don't think that was scripted either. That might have. I think we definitely scripted like the opening and the middle, but I don't think we had a script for the end. I think we were just gonna be like, yeah, I got the answer, and then we realized we're out of time, and he's like, oh man, and then leaves. But Isaiah's ad-libbing there with the ripping the paper and yelling and he made it a lot more than it needed to be, but he also made it great. Yeah, he did. He made it much better than whatever I wrote for it. So that was great. I also really enjoyed the behind the scenes how we ended up in the room that we ended up in, which was our food science class. We were originally going to be in an empty room, and we would probably like get whatever teacher we could find to like maybe film stuff after the fact. But
teacher off the street,
but the original teacher's room, who I think had allowed us, he was one of the soccer coaches who also like teaches a class. And he told us that you can use my room, it's empty, but when we went to film, his room was locked, and we didn't know where he was, and we also didn't want to waste our class time like searching, like going over to like the athletic offices or whatever, like trying to find him, because if we didn't end up finding him, we would have wasted too much time. So instead, what we did is we found somebody else in that hallway, which happened to be our food science teacher, which I think was actually our next class of the day after our film class. So after we filmed, we went back to Coach Nash's, we got all the footage on a hard drive, and then immediately the class period changed, and then we went into that proper class. But yeah, she was nice. She was really accommodating, and I'm surprised she was willing to act, but she did pretty good too.
I also agree. I think she did great.
I would probably go A for this.
I agree. That's where I have it.
I will have to agree with you, gentlemen.
So yeah, I'm glad we have unanimous agreement on this one. I think this one was definitely it's definitely high up there. This is one of our best.
Let's go, baby. The winter formal video.
Easiest S tier I've ever seen in my life.
100%. 100%. Bruh. Like, I can tell you now, like, comparing the homecoming to the winter formal, it's like...
Yes, this one's much better.
100%. You can see, like, how... Because we were saying in the homecoming video, it's like, basically, fun parts, informative parts.
This one is the perfect. This one is the perfect blend of comedy and info.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It blends them just evenly.
It's also
It's
half
just
as
great.
long. The pacing is so much better. It's like I think this one's about 5 minutes and the other one was 10. This one is so much better with the amount of time we had to with the final product ended up being. This is really good.
Dude, I had a blast too. We beat up like a garbage can in one scene, and then we have Colin flipping, just doing some random flips. We try to get Colin to flip as much as we can.
Yeah,
you know?
the comedy in this one was definitely better. I loved me running away with Dominic's wallet.
That was good.
You and Colin, and this is part of another part of the information and comedy being mixed, but it's another really funny moment was because this could have very easily ended up being like Dominic sitting, in the cafeteria in a very boring environment like the homecoming,
right.
But we decided to have, we didn't decide it; it just sort of happened in the moment, but where they're like. Because this was an informational video about a school dance, and there were dresses available. Like if somebody, couldn't afford it or wanted a dress for the dance, you could ask the nurse. You could go to the nurse's office, and she has like a closet full of ones for students who can't afford that kind of thing. It was that scene, and it's where you're like, all right, we're gonna go to the nurse's office and pick out a dress, and instead of saying that just like very boringly, you and Colin were like dancing outside in the rain under the umbrella. Like it's little things like that, the incorporation of comedy, that makes this one so much better than the homecoming video.
Dude, wasn't that music in the background from Jabba's Palace?
Yeah, it was. I think it was Jedi Rocks that I used in that. I didn't write that down, but I think you are right. I used tons of copyrighted music in this one. Jeff Coates' cameo was good, with him being like, "I'm trying to teach," and he's just drawing pictures. I think definitely the funniest part for me is the slow motion hug with, I think it was the Titanic music.
Yeah.
I'm so sad that I was sick the day that you guys watched this. I think I edited it at my house. And I wasn't there at school the next day, but you guys got to watch it without me, and I will always regret not being able to see y'all's first reactions to that. Because Coach Nash, I emailed it to him and he played it, and Coach Nash was very kind enough to send me an email back. I figured I would just send it to him and that would be that. But I'm really glad that Coach Nash actually took some time to write back a reply and be like, hope you feel better soon. Everybody enjoyed the video. We were all laughing. So that was really nice.
That is really nice.
Dude, funny enough, I did go to the winter formal that it was actually promoted for.
I did too.
And it was pretty good.
The dance scene in this is so random.
It very much is, yeah.
There's like a giraffe. There's like Deadpool. There's the Pope.
Wolverine is in the back.
Yeah. I love your cameo. Your character comes back. We probably could have framed that a little better to tell it was you, but you walk past the camera and you're supposed to be your same character, being like, "Hey guys, glad you made it." Because after your character arc in the homecoming video, where you come back and now you're involved in all the festivities and you're all like, "Hey guys," I liked that. I also like the Cupid Shuffle. The royalty-free cover of the Cupid Shuffle that we used.
The Cupid Shuffle, dude, so good.
The credits are so good too. That George Lopez as Dominic.
I forgot about that. It's like
I think Colin was
Coach Nash was Tom Holland or something.
Yeah,
Ellen DeGeneres.
Colin was Ellen. Kevin Hart was Nurse Gish. Based on characters by George Lucas, that kind of stuff.
Executive producer Kevin Feige.
Yeah,
such a good time, man.
Yeah,
such a good time.
As I said, I think we can all agree this is the easiest S tier we've ever seen.
100%. This one was fantastic.
Yeah, this one's great. When I think of junior year, I think of Onerous too, but when I think of senior year, I probably think of this more of this kind of like not a narrative kind of thing, but more of the like silly. It's definitely this is what I think of the most.
Yeah.
So, Onerous 4. This is the first one that was made. Well, I should say post-COVID, but this one was made during the initial quarantine. I think we filmed in like maybe March or April. Probably not March. I think March is too early, but it was definitely around that time.
Because I remember I was stuck out of town.
Yeah, I wanted to have you involved, but we couldn't get you. I don't think we could get Well, I did get Dominic in a way because I had Dominic send me the phone conversation.
FaceTime, yeah,
the FaceTime.
Yeah, because I was stuck in Rockport at the time.
That sounds right. Yeah, I remember that. And we couldn't get a big group, so we got whoever we could, which fortunately ended up being the Saffron team.
I will say, after going back and rewatching this one, I love this one a lot more than I thought I did. I really enjoyed this one.
I really enjoy this one as well. I wouldn't say my opinion, like if I had to guess, I feel like we'll get to it later after we talk about all our notes that we have, but I feel like I probably would have ranked where I intend to rank this one probably would have been the same. Because honestly, some of that might have something to do with it being more like the further we go along on this list, it gets more recent, so I have more of a clearer memory. But yeah, this one's definitely really good. So one thing that I really regret about this one is I'm in this as myself, as my Onerous character, my usual character, but I also play all of the NPCs, and my mask doesn't fit very clearly. I think all you can see through the mouth of the balaclava is like my upper lip. if you go back and look at all the NPCs, it looks real goofy. I definitely think this one probably... Well, I do have an important note. I think for the most part, this one is the best camera work of all of the Onerous films.
I agree. I really agree. There was a lot that I really enjoyed about this one upon a rewatch that I honestly forgot a lot about this one until I went back and watched it again last night. But that in particular, I agree.
Up until the final shot, which is so damn close. It's a damn shame, but the final shot is really out of focus. Which for a film that had such good camera work right up until that point, it's so annoying, and it bothers me to this day, and it probably always will that final shot was out of focus. But the only reason that was the case is because that was probably the only scene where I didn't have somebody with me. I think I set up the camera on a tripod because I was alone. I believe I was house sitting for my grandparents for a weekend, and before they left, I got my. I should mention also my grandfather is the CEO in this.
I thought that's who that was.
We filmed that before I think he left, and he was really good. All of his stuff was good. Most of his stuff was ad-libbed. I think the only parts in the script were like, "You here for the tournament? Put the paper here." But he went like he really embraced this douchebag CEO role of him drinking a glass of, I don't remember what he was drinking, but he was drinking something, and he was like, "All right, you coming in on a flight?" That kind of stuff. It was. I didn't even give him any direction to do that. He just sort of knew what the deal was and was like, "All right, I can do this."
I did not know that. I did not know that. That's really cool. I gotta say, I love the color grading on this one too. I love the purple. The purple looks so good. It does. It looks great. I also love that this one is kind of like smaller scale compared to the second one. This one is far closer to the Onerous 2 vibe than it is the Onerous 3 vibe.
Right.
Yeah, and your costume in this one, I think, is great as well.
Oh yeah, my green mixed with the black instead of the gray and the dark gray. Yeah. I thought that was great. I genuinely enjoyed this one a lot more than I remember enjoying it the first time that I saw it, and I thought that this one was great. There was a lot to love about it. I love Brian doing all of his various flips throughout it.
Yeah.
Especially that shot where he does like a one-hand cartwheel and his other hand shoots the gun. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I like the shot where the birds fly away after the grenade trap.
I like that too.
That was pretty cool looking. One thing that I have as a big criticism is why didn't I shoot Ethan in the back of the head when I had the chance? I told him to drop his gun. It's a shooter game. What am I doing?
That's fair, but I also really like whenever he spins around and takes it from you. I thought that was really cool.
I'll get to that fight. That was a pretty good fight. But I'm thinking maybe I was just trying to, and this is a retcon. This is just a stupid way of explaining it away. But maybe I was trying to get information, or maybe I'm just trying to do style points where I get him to turn around and then I execute. I don't know. But yeah, that's one part that I found really dumb upon a rewatch. Was right. Why didn't I just shoot him immediately when I had to drop on him? But yeah, that fight was really good. It's probably the second best fight, surprisingly enough, to Rogue Sentinel. I think Rogue Sentinel is our best hand-to-hand fight we've done. But this is definitely the second best. It's definitely the best hand-to-hand fight in the Onerous stuff.
Yeah.
Much better than me and Dominic's choppy, like, Onerous 1 fight.
Onerous 1, yeah, fight.
The Dark Knight reference was kind of dumb and out of place. The hockey pads joke. Me and Brian insulting each other as we're shooting at each other.
It made me laugh a little bit.
Really? Yeah. It's you know, it's just, for me, that joke is just kind of there. It doesn't really land, for me, all the best, but...
It might be the only thing that maybe dates it a little bit.
Maybe a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah.
Reed's Scottish accent was kind of funny, but I still wouldn't change it for the world. It's another one of those things that's stupid, but it's funny stupid, or good stupid.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got Connor back, even though technically the footage we used was meant for Onerous 3.
It fits.
That footage was, I think what ended up happening was, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we filmed my part of the conversation in Onerous 3 where I'm in my bedroom, and I have virtually the same lines, but Connor didn't get the footage to us in time, and we just really wanted to release Onerous 3 because we were just so done with it, so I think I did an insert shot in Onerous 3 where it's like number out of service.
Yeah.
And
that sounds about right.
And then Connor, after Onerous 3 had already come out, Connor sent me his line. So I'm like, well, at least we have this archive footage. So yeah, that.
I remember at one point we had an idea for 3 that he was going to die in a plane crash.
That was insane. I'm so glad we didn't do that.
You're right.
We found like a stock footage of like a plane crashing, and we were gonna have it be like. Since
it was gonna be like a news broadcast or something.
Yeah, like since Connor was taking so long to get his footage done, we were like, all right, we'll kill him off.
Yeah, like
What were we thinking?
Yeah, like fine. You know what? His plane went down. It's okay. Just
yeah. I'm glad we didn't do that. I'm glad we got.
Me too.
We got Connor back, at least in some limited fashion.
Yeah.
I honestly probably would go for A for this one.
I agree.
I do agree.
I do declare that it is an A.
declare. So, the holiday special was so good. Did we film this, Aidan, on Christmas Eve?
It was Christmas Eve. I will say,
Perfect.
A bit of behind the scenes is this was entirely conceived in a single day.
Yeah.
Because I was texting Dominic on Christmas Eve. It was in the morning. I texted you, and I'm like, hey, do you want to come over to my house, maybe film something real fast? I don't know, just for something. And you were like, okay, sure.
I gotta ask, how much of that was just what, you hating recording, just saying like, all right, Dominic, do your thing. Like, how much of that was just him? Was it 100% just Dominic improvising?
It was 100% of that.
It was 100% of that, dude. It was crazy.
Dominic just had free range in my kitchen. I'm like, do whatever, I'll film. The cereal maze was so wholesome. That was so funny.
I'm so smart. I'm such a smarty pants.
Smarty pants.
Dude, I was laughing so hard last night whenever I was watching this. I was watching it with my fiance. She said that this one is easily her favorite thing that we have ever done.
I will say that maybe some of the gags may have gone on a bit long, like Dominic pouring a glass of milk for 45 seconds, but it's still. Yeah. I feel like it was the perfect amount. Any more stuff probably would have just been stretching it out a bit, but yeah, this is really good. It's so funny.
Honestly, I don't know how I know we probably talked about scenes a little bit before making them, because we had the idea, right? I'm cleaning up basically all the stuff that happened in the party.
We had an idea. We had some kind of outline, but no dialogue.
There was an idea.
Was scripted. Yeah, we definitely didn't know what we were saying.
But beyond that, dude, it was just pure imagination, and oh man, I had such a fun time filming it. Honestly, it was such a good day.
You can tell that you were having a good time. This is honestly my favorite performance that you have ever given. It was hilarious.
I figured when you said that earlier, I figured this one would be it.
Yeah, no, this one This one, honestly, after watching all of them back to back, I have to say this one is probably easily one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, I didn't want to believe it at the time, but we clearly look older than we did in Onerous 1 by
We do.
by several years. At the time I was like, it's close enough. We probably look okay, but nah, we definitely look much older than I wanted to believe that we did. One of the benefits of making a prequel is you can make all these references like in reverse. So like we have Dominic pull out the solo cups, wanting to talking about throwing a party.
Talk about throwing a party and everything.
Me grabbing the MP5, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was such a throwback too. Like it had that same Onerous 1 vibe of me and Dominic just messing around in the woods near my house.
Dude, oh man, dude, so nostalgic. I'm about to just say, like, it just brought me back to like the good old time where you just, we don't know exactly what we're doing, but we're just having fun with it, and it never really got serious, like we never really like in past films we didn't really get annoyed by the weather or just like there wasn't many.
This one had no problems filming. This one was really good.
Mm-hmm. It was just smooth sailing from the beginning. Since that day, and then I think you were telling me like that same night you're like cranking this thing out. You're just wanting to get it out as soon as possible for Christmas.
No, yeah,
so
I was
be that holiday special.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, like I called you that morning. We filmed for a couple hours. It didn't take that long.
Right.
I started editing in the evening, and then I finished the edit by that evening. But I wanted to. Onerous 1 I think came out on Christmas Eve. So technically, if we wanted to do it for, I think it would have been the 3-year anniversary of Onerous 1, I could have posted it that evening, but I just decided to post it on Christmas morning. So I finished the edit very fast, had it ready in the evening, and posted it in the morning. It was probably the fastest turnaround out of any of these.
Just going back to that trailer too is good. Just going back and sitting
back
down.
The weird, like, because that was filmed in like a trailer that we have. It wasn't in like an actual room. And I remember we tried to do a retcon where Dominic was like, "Welcome to the game room," but we couldn't keep it in. I remember because you called me Schwarz instead of Landon or Aidan. Like even Aidan would have worked because Aidan was my character's name, but you called me Schwarto or Schwarz, and it wouldn't have worked. So we unfortunately we couldn't keep in the game room retcon line, but we.
Oh well.
Yeah, this I feel like this is the perfect way to close this part of the series. We'll probably end up doing something else in the future, but I feel like for this era of the Onerous stuff, it was definitely the perfect bookend because it's basically going back to the first thing. It's like poetry; it rhymes.
It's like poetry, exactly. We're pulling the Phantom Menace, baby. But oh man. It's funny that canonically you're the first one to say "you fool,"
I do. Maybe you learn it from me.
Maybe I learned it from you, dude. That was crazy. But yeah, man,
the origin.
Yeah.
The origin of the fool.
So I had it, and I probably still have it as probably a high B. But if you guys end up ranking it higher, I'm probably willing to compromise and maybe move it up, but I'd probably go with a high B for this.
I was thinking either high B or maybe like a low A, but I just think it's great.
It would be funny if it ends up in B with Onerous 1.
That would be great. I don't know. I'm trying to think because it's just I don't know. For me personally, like I know, like I just had a wonderful time doing it. So for me, I do.
You can tell that
it
radiates a good time.
Yeah.
But that's just me. That was the good times. Good times.
So where would you put this, Aidan?
I'm thinking A. I just love this one.
Dominic?
A as well.
You know what? I will, since it's majority, I can definitely, I'm by no means in any way opposed to this going in A. Alright, and last, and certainly not least, is Task Unfathomable, which doesn't actually have much of the usual cast. I am in this as the waiter. One of my favorite characters that I've ever played, actually. I really enjoyed filming that. It was originally a college project. This is the only one out of everything that wasn't sort of a high school... No, technically Onerous Holiday Special was freshman year of college, but this one it was a college project for me, and it actually got a 98 for a grade, I think, if I remember correctly, and it was actually screened as part of like sort of a festival-y sort of film competition kind of thing, and it got screened in front of the big auditorium room that we have in the media building, and people really enjoyed it. My professor, who was last name Epler, he enjoyed having the steakhouse being named after him, and he also Aidan, you did the music for this one, and I remember talking to me, he picked up on the Mission Impossible. He enjoyed the sort of like the classical sort of.
There is another reference in there that I want to know if you picked up on.
Really?
If you pay attention, a lot of it is a piano version of Dom's Big Adventure. The da 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 da.
Huh.
No way.
Oh my goodness, you're correct.
Yep.
It's the same beat, just sped up a little.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yo, I'm learning this right now. That's such a good Easter egg. I love that.
Yeah, I was wondering if you had ever noticed that.
I hadn't. That's I love that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say I'm not sure why, honestly, in retrospect, that I decided to keep the Task Unfathomable name, which is a name that existed long before this. It's back in.
Yeah, we had several ideas for that before.
We wanted to do a sequel or something adjacent. This is definitely not a sequel to Task Impractical.
It's definitely Task Impractical adjacent, though.
It's adjacent. I feel like the title isn't undeserved. It's just probably could have come up with something else. But yeah, the effects here are actually very similar to Question 27 with the whole green screen like color vibe. And I honestly think Question 27's green screen effect was better than this one. Not just because of the film grain that sort of washes this one out, but I think the lighting on the green screen was worse here. Like, I think you can see the ripples in the green screen on this one, whereas Question 27's was much more smooth lighting, clear lighting, not that much problem with the keying. I definitely think that since they're easily comparable, you can't avoid the comparison between this and Question 27 with the visuals.
Yeah, they're quite similar.
They are quite similar, but I
think
think they're definitely not quite as good as what we were able to pull off on Question 27, which is surprising considering the large green screen.
The equipment that we had.
Yeah, this one definitely had a larger budget than Question 27, but it still doesn't look terrible. I think
no, not at all.
I think the worst shot in this one is when when it pans up. Like there's a shot where the protagonist, he stands up and walks out of frame, and the camera actually moves up. The camera isn't locked off, so I had to sort of motion track the background, and that's when you can actually see some of the rippling in the green screen not quite lining up with the motion tracking. That's where the visuals fall apart, but all in all, I think it was actually a very enjoyable narrative, all things considered. My mustache is made of paper, very low budget there. That's definitely not where the money went into. It's just a paper cutout that I scotch taped onto my face, that mustache. I enjoyed the dialogue card jokes with angry waiter noises and crap. I think crap might be my favorite. Angry waiter noises is a classic. It's really good too. But
I think that one might be my favorite. The angry waiter noises.
I think I like crap because it's like this guy saying a bunch of stuff and then it just says crap.
Oh man! I just love the scene where you, Aidan, you just like, you got me fired, and then you just throw the water on each of these two actors here.
That was really good too. I love that. I asked them permission, and they were cool that I throw the water on. They gave me permission to go full send with the water, just splash it on their faces, but I sort of tried to make it like just sort of like easily clean it, like we could clean it off their like shirts and stuff. I sort of intentionally missed a little bit, but they did give me full permission to just full send, like chuck the water at them, and I decided not to. But yeah, that's another really funny shot. I think the amount of time skips in this is just the maximum that we could have gotten away with before it got old. I feel like any more of those jokes and it probably would have been a bit too repetitive. I like the scene where the chef takes the loaf of bread out of the oven. It just made me laugh because it's so random. I don't think I actually did very much like buying stuff for this in advance. Like I think I just used like a loaf of French bread that I was gonna eat later that night with like some steak. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'll just have him like take this out of the oven with like a cookie sheet and a glove. We only had one jacket, so I think the same jacket that it's my favorite jacket actually. It's in my closet right in the front. It's my favorite jacket that I own, my suit jacket. But I just took it off myself and I gave it to the chef who was wearing a hoodie because I felt like a hoodie didn't really match, and I didn't really have a better shirt to give like a chef. I didn't have like a white button down or anything like that, or a hat, so I just gave him the suit jacket.
You mean to tell me that you don't have a stockpile of chef coats in your closet?
No, I know it's totally surprising, as normal people have. I do feel like this one also suffers from the classic Prof Publications smiling problem in some places.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite as bad as like Task Impractical, but or a lot of the other stuff, but it's definitely noticeable. Like whenever I'm like getting thrown on the ground or covered in water, like you can see Grant, who plays the protagonist, he laughs quite a bit at my misfortune, and the guy in the back of the truck who has the time travel app, he laughs. But I mean that just kind of goes with the whole silliness vibe. It's classic Prof.
Yeah.
I really like the lesson with this though. Like, you know, just always just apologize. Don't try to make things worse to avoid it. You know, I like that. I like that lesson. It's kind of only the only one of our stuff that actually has sort of like a moral lesson that it's trying to teach rather than just dumb action. You know. So there's that.
Yeah.
I realized that I've got the most experience working on this. I know Aidan did the music, but you very much weren't sort of involved with this as much, and Dominic wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
Dominic wasn't around for this one in any capacity of a production standpoint, but I would probably go for an A.
I agree. Yeah.
I gotta agree. It was pretty cool, super fun. I don't know. I did enjoy myself watching it. I was like, dude, no way. He's like making these films in college and he's having a blast. Let's see what he's up to, and then I check it out.
Yeah.
Jeez, that crap did get me. Oh.
Yeah, I do really enjoy this one, and even though this is our most recent one, I feel like it did benefit from a rewatch. I really enjoyed it, especially with the large, like several year time gaps. It's nice being able to sort of relive this, and like even though I am going to inherently have bias for all of them because I was involved with making them. You know, it's like the same thing that, you know, George Lucas always says, like, I never got to watch Star Wars really. I did enjoy having like the couple of year gaps where I could sort of re-experience this and sort of get what we were trying to go for, and I really do enjoy the lessons in this one and the comedy aspects as well. I feel like this was really funny for like a comedic silent film kind of vibe.
It was really funny.
So we have successfully listed all of our films in a category. Next, I think just to sort of close it out, we're going to try to maybe rearrange them and see what we think, and maybe reorganize them so we actually have a definitive best to worst list. I guess we'll probably should we start from the bottom and go up? So maybe CAS.
Yeah.
Out of the three that we have here, what do we think? I definitely think that the cricket video might stay in the lowest part of the C tier.
Yeah, I think so too.
I feel like Onerous 3 has so many faults that I can't put it above Task Impractical. I don't know about you, Aidan. If you're if you're rewatch.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay,
I think that's fair. That's fair assessment right there.
We'd probably keep these three listed the same way that they are.
Yeah.
Okay. A tier ended up a lot more crowded than my personal original list, but
mine as well.
I definitely think that some rearranging might be in order for this. I would probably maybe put the Homecoming video as the lowest of A.
I 100% agree with you there.
Yeah.
As for the rest, it's a little tricky. I love all of these, and it's really difficult to sort of move them around.
Yeah, I do too.
And I realize that a lot of this might be our own personal opinions, and we might have some disagreement on where they should be placed. What would you guys say out of the remaining 4 in A tier? What would you say would probably be your personal highest?
Holiday special.
I might have to. Well, I don't know, because it was good. It was really good. I'm not gonna lie. It was really good. But I just feel like there's maybe like others that might have been just like better quality. I don't know if that makes sense. But
I agree that there are some that might be better quality, but the holiday special had me the most entertained throughout.
Yeah,
I would say
that's fair. You know what? That is fair to say. I truly was entertained.
I think the only one change that I would make is I would probably have question 27 as the highest, and then the holiday special before it. You guys do seem to agree, so I'm willing to let the holiday special stay at the front, but that's up to you. I just feel like compared to each other, I like sort of the narrative aspects and the sort of pseudo-historical vibe of question 27. I find it a bit more compelling than the holiday special, which was just sort of a pure comedy film. But yeah, I mean that's since y'all seem to agree, I'm totally willing to keep the holiday special at the top of A if that's what y'all are feeling.
Okay, I'm chill with that.
I think the only other change I would make would be to probably swap Onerous 4 and Task Unfathomable.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm fair with that.
Do you would you agree for?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely think I really do, after a rewatch especially, I love the lesson that that Task Unfathomable is trying to go for. And I feel like Onerous 4, while it's really good, is still, it might, compared to a lot of other stuff, be kind of a bit more generic in a way. Even though it's definitely deserving of the A tier, I definitely feel like Onerous 4, out of all of these narrative ones, is probably... I'm satisfied with this order that we have them in, if you guys are.
Yeah. 100%.
And last but not least, the creme de la creme of Prof Publications. How are we feeling about the 2 that we have in S tier?
That one is tough, man.
It is really tough, because this, I feel like we have the best narrative film that we've done, and we have the best silly school project that we've done.
Yeah. It really is like a coin toss. It's hard to compare them.
Trying to decide and trying to compare in a non-biased, in an objective way, is really difficult.
I'm inclined to say leave it where it is.
Honestly, I'm thinking so too. Maybe because Onerous 2 has custom music and sort of more like I enjoy the narrative stuff quite a bit, especially when it's something that we can really be proud of. And Onerous 2 is something that I'm very proud of.
I agree. I feel like that is probably the thing that I am the most proud of.
Yeah, I think the music and the behind the scenes enjoyment of it.
Yeah, it was honestly that was the most fun. That was the most fun thing that we've ever done. Yeah, it was a really good time. Are
you cool?
Very memorable.
We keep your magnum opus, your winter formal video in second place. Okay, yeah.
No worries. Just the fact that it's there in this tier makes me happy.
Oh yeah, for sure. I knew that these 2 weren't going anywhere other than where they are.
Yeah, those were for sure going to be there.
Yeah, so I'm satisfied with this if you guys are.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I believe so.
Leave Rogue Sentinel exactly where it is.
Yep. Fuck that.
Rogu.
That's what F stands for.
No, Rogu Sentinel, Aidan. What are you talking about? What's
Rogu Sentinel?
Rogu Sentinel. I'm sorry, my mistake.
Yes. All right, everybody. So that's been our 10-year celebration of Prof Publications. This was really fun. I always enjoy getting to hang out with you guys again. It's always a blast.
Same. Yeah, it has been way too long since the three of us were just like in a room together. We need to figure out how to do something at some point.
Yeah, I always love our conversations about dumb crap. Yeah, and we definitely got to do more. We'll reunite in the future. We'll do more podcasts and stuff. We'll hang out more. We got more coming in the future. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Prof Publications is nowhere near done. We will definitely in the future be, especially in animation, we'll be working on some more projects, and maybe in another 10 years we'll do another one of these kinds of things, and we'll rank all of our next few projects. And I'm really looking forward to what the future has in store. Really looking forward to Reborn Terra animations that are in the works right now. I can't wait to share that stuff with y'all. This has been really fun, and I really thank you guys for joining me on this 10-year celebration. It's crazy how long it's been since I decided to make little stick figure animations and little things for my middle school. Doing little stuff for them as prof films back in the day. So, yeah. Cheers to 10 more years. Thank you very much, and we'll see you when we see you. Bye!
Bye.